right, good evening everybody, and welcome back to Walks on Wall Street. It's a very wet, rainy night in New York. Now the good news is it just stopped raining, quite literally, as we stepped here on Central Park South. So hopefully the rain will hold off throughout the night, but it's supposed to be on and off rain all night. And I think tomorrow is supposed to be a washout, so we'll see. As you know, Saturdays, there's really no topic of discussion. We sort of just walk around New York, explore a different neighborhood. It's sort of our night off, if you will. So I think we're gonna start off the stream by actually walking inside Central Park. I don't think I've taken you guys inside the park, especially at night, in a very, very long time. What I wanna do is head east for now. There's a really nice lake right at the, I guess you could say right outside the Plaza Hotel. It has really nice views of Billionaires Row. And I think you guys will enjoy it. Once we've finished, you could say the lower eastern side of Central Park, I actually want to go all the way back to Hell's Kitchen, which is on the west side, and check it out. Usually it's a very lively environment, lively neighborhood in Hell's Kitchen. A lot of bars, a lot of restaurants, a lot of nightlife over there. So I think that'll be cool. Hopefully you all are having a wonderful weekend so far. I will say hello to everybody in the chat in just a moment. So let me go ahead and put my laptop away and we will get the stream started. But hopefully you guys are having a great weekend. Give me a second and we'll get started. All right, and I got the umbrella. Tons of mosquitoes out tonight, I noticed. I'm not sure if you could see. If you sort of look into the lights here, there's like thousands and thousands of mosquitoes swarming everywhere. Maybe they're like little gnats. But it's a beautiful night. Thank God it stopped raining. It was downpouring, pretty much on and off all day. Beautiful views of Central Park Tower and 220 Central Park South. I see DWG is in the chat. Good to see you, DWG. I see Gary Carpenter. Always a pleasure. Who else we got? I see Ryan Beck. Hawaii, what is up? Golden City, Jeremy, Stephen Bates. You know, speaking of Hawaii, I read a really interesting article today. I think it was in the Journal, I forget. Anyway, you get the point. Hawaii has the highest average rents in the entire United States. That's crazy. You know, there's a really good documentary, and I think this sort of ties in well to what we were talking about last week, obviously, because we got the CPI numbers and the CPI report out. But Hawaii, in the chat, if you see her there, she sent me a really good documentary. Now, I'm not familiar with Hawaii. I've never been. I would love to visit. I really would like to go and visit sometime. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous place. You guys know I love the tropics, particularly South Florida, such as Miami and the like. But you gotta watch this documentary. I think it's called Priced Out of Paradise, I think. You know, Hawaii, if you could post it in the chat, I think people would like to watch that. You know, not only the rents, right? So you're talking about, you know, average rents, average mortgage payments too, for people who are looking to buy in Hawaii. It's not only the cost of living as it relates to rents. It's everything else pretty much too. If you think about food, if you think about energy, a lot of that stuff obviously has to be imported to the island on tanker ships and the like. And that is very, very expensive. So there's about a 20% premium to living in Hawaii than it is stateside. And I never really knew that before. So it was cool to kind of be educated on that. We're standing outside the New York Athletic Club. This is one of my favorite buildings on Central Park South. It is beautiful. Ann R is here, says my goddaughter goes to college there, and she said it's very expensive in Hawaii. Well, it's an awesome place to go to college to, my God. I would probably be near the ocean every day. Yeah, the final cost is gasoline is expensive too there, for sure. Rent says I could never live in Hawaii. I think if I had the money, I probably could. Mainly because it's sort of my preference, right? I like particular climates that are hot, that are humid. Ooh, it looks like they have an event going on here. Look at this, guys. This is the Essex House, the JW Marriott Essex House. Looks like there's some big corporate event going on. It's really gorgeous in here. I don't really want to intrude on their time. But look at those chandeliers in there, my God. Really, really beautiful. Ryan Beck says, I think if I'm going to pay Hawaii rent, I just assume to live in New York City. Yeah, I mean, I was surprised to hear that too. Let me give you one more shot inside the lobby. You see these beautiful crown moldings on the ceiling. Now, the JW Marriott Essex House is a 5-star hotel right here on Central Park South. You can see all of the gorgeous marble that's pretty much lined the entire walls as well as the floor. Amazing Art Deco building. I would highly recommend to stay here if you visit New York. Now, it's not the traditional, well, I should say actually it is the traditional 5-star hotel experience. But it's not going to be like the Park Hyatt. It's not going to be like staying on Billionaire's Row in those particular type of buildings where you have those just sweeping floor to ceiling windows. It's more of an older style building, if you will. Now, it looks like they glassed out the entire lobby, or maybe the lobby is under construction, because you used to be able to see directly inside. Looks like they're doing some sort of construction project on it. Hey, Vinny Castellano, what's up? Welcome, welcome. Yeah, the final call says love the floors. They must be doing something. I'm trying to figure this out. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit sidetracked. I'll quickly explain this real fast. So this is the Southgate Bar and Restaurant. It's actually attached to the JW Marriott Essex House. So you notice all of the windows are boarded up here. They must be doing a total renovation on the hotel and the bar and restaurant here. And maybe that's why they opened up that sort of ballroom, if you will, to make it the lobby. I don't know. I'll have to do some more research into it, but this place used to be really packed almost every night. Yeah, it looks like it's totally under renovation now. Maybe somebody could Google it. It's called the Southgate Bar and Restaurant, New York City. It's inside the Essex House. But yeah, if you guys can check out that documentary, it's only 15-20 minutes max, but I think it's a really good documentary to watch to build some perspective on things. So, you know, as we had that CPI number come out last week, yes, it is true that quote unquote inflation is coming down, but I think we need to understand how to interpret CPI, right? The CPI is the year over year and month over month increase in inflation. So it doesn't mean that prices necessarily are coming down. They're just going up at a much slower pace. Now, really the only improvement that we've seen, I would say material improvement, as we're looking over the east side of Manhattan, you see the Sherry Netherland in the distance, is really energy, right? Commodities have been coming down, but shelter costs, which is rents, and food have been very, very expensive. So you could imagine the sore, I'm going to call them sore places, like New York, like Hawaii, that have some of the nation's highest rents. People are getting really, really crushed there, and to use the term of the documentary, priced out, right? Priced out of paradise. So not only do you have your rents that are extremely high, but pretty much everything else. You go to the gas station, it's 20% more than you would fill up your tank stateside. Kind of crazy, but it is true. Hey, Smee Media says Essex House used to host SNL host. Really? I didn't know that. Don Pardo used to voice an Essex House ad. Spot on the show back in the day. I didn't know that. Interesting. Very cool. Manny is here, says love your videos, keep it up, watching from Miami. Hey, the 305. You know, hopefully I'll be back in Miami next weekend. I've been on a couple big projects here in New York. So that actually used to be my old doorman. He's a really nice guy. Maybe I'll say hi to him in a minute. Seems to be busy, I don't want to intrude. But this is my old building, guys. Right here, 106 Central Park South. This was my favorite apartment I've ever had in New York. I had the only studio in the building that had a Central Park view. The only studio. It was a small space, granted, but it was big enough for me. And I think the best thing about this apartment building particularly wasn't really the staff, right? The doormen were nice, the porters were nice, but it was just being able to wake up before work and going on a run in Central Park. This is one of the main entrances to the park here. Right here on 6th Avenue, or Avenue of the Americas as they call it. And having Central Park be your backyard is phenomenal. I will say that. You could see a little bit inside the lobby. It's all really nice marble. Now the prices here have doubled, if not tripled. The only way I was able to live there is when everybody was moving out of New York, right? When the pandemic was going on, unfortunately. There was a mini flash crash in real estate prices and in rental prices. I'm sure everybody remembers that, all the different contingencies and concessions that landlords were giving. You know, there was like 2 to 3 months free in some cases. You know, rents were slashed 30 to 40%. And you were able to get a nice studio on Central Park South for like $2,000. Now, I know what you're thinking. $2,000 for a studio, that's a ripoff. Yeah, I get it, but you sort of pay for the location. You know, that same studio on the market now is probably close to $3,800 or $4,000, which is a little crazy for a studio, right? You could probably go to Bushwick, Brooklyn and get a duplex, maybe a 2-bedroom duplex for $3,800 with a backyard. So, kind of crazy. I gotta tell you guys about this building. This is 50 Central Park West, or Central Park South, excuse me, apologize. And this is the Ritz-Carlton Hotel and Residences. But the 50 address is the Residences. And there's a new listing here by one of the top real estate brokers in Manhattan, Noble Black. Has a gorgeous 3-bedroom, I think 3.5 bathroom place right here that I was able to go to the showing over this last week. Maybe I'll post some videos of it, but it's an unbelievable place. Now again, very different here as it relates to, you know, a lot of the properties we talk about on a daily basis, right? The Central Park Tower, 157, Steinway. These are all super modern, ultra luxurious, you know, glass facade buildings. The Ritz-Carlton is not like that at all. It's sort of like you're being transported back in time. It doesn't really have that open, free-flowing concept that is, I should say, quote unquote, in right now. It's more of a home. Like when you're in there, you feel like you are home. It almost feels like you're living in an Upper East Side townhouse, but 20 stories in the sky. It's really, really cool. You definitely have to have the particular taste for it. So it'll probably be used as a pied-à-terre of some sorts of an older, you know, businesswoman or business gentleman. But really, really cool listings here. And it just goes to show the diversity in the architecture of a lot of these buildings. There's pretty much a price point for everybody in New York. And an architectural style and taste for everybody in New York too. Vivian says, Tom, love the shorts, property views. Vivian, I think I'm gonna continue to do that. I think it's easier for me to show you guys some of these listings in short form video. So I'm deciding whether if I should continue to do that. I'm just trying to figure out which is the best way to present those particular properties. But yeah, they're really, really beautiful. And ours here says, I wish I could live on the Upper East Side. Those buildings are beautiful. They really are. This last week, I think it was Tuesday now. Was it Tuesday? I think it was. Real quick, this is the Plaza Hotel residences. So just as a quick reminder, as you're walking down Central Park South towards the east side, you're always going to walk past the Plaza Hotel residences. Okay, the hotel is actually on the other side facing the GM building, General Motors building. But look at how cool this is. So much detail on the light post here. It has the Plaza Hotel insignia. Isn't that cool? You can see the sign, it says residences only. But speaking of the Upper East Side, there's a lot, and I mean a lot, of co-ops on the Upper East Side, a lot of them. And the Upper East Side is really trading at a discount in comparison to a lot of the other condominiums, if you will, in New York, for reasons that we've discussed before, right? Look at these beautiful revolving doors here at the plaza. That is gorgeous. That is really nice. I love the Plaza Hotel logo. I think that's one of my favorite logos. It's almost like a crest, like a family crest. It's beautiful, it's nice. Now, anyway, as I was saying, you can actually get a really good deal on a particular co-op on the Upper East Side, but you gotta understand the sentiment of, I should say, buyers out there. We've shifted in New York City particularly from co-ops being very fashionable and very sought after to quite the contrary. A lot of new money that is moving into New York, particularly from abroad, they don't want to be in co-ops, right? They want a full service turnkey building like the ones on Billionaires Row, like 130 William, like 1 Wall Street, right? All of these new developments that have pools, they have gyms, they have dog spas, they have, you know, pickleball courts, basketball courts, you name it, it has it. And I think the younger generation, particularly Gen Z and millennials, they kind of want that stuff, as opposed to some of the older maybe boomers out there who just want a very quiet and quaint place on the Upper East Side away from all the noise. So you're actually seeing a lot of those beautiful, very old, classic New York co-ops traded at a discount as it relates to a lot of the other neighborhoods in the city. But just know that there's a reason why. Hey, CA2SD is here. So just read that the feds are reporting that singer Taylor Swift's current tour is boosting the economy by approximately $4 billion. I definitely believe that, and I would actually guess probably a little bit more. I think she is set to make almost $1 billion on the tour, is she not? Hey, Brody23, what's up? Beacon, New York, so just being in Manhattan is enough for many people, especially if they pay low rent. That's a good point. Now look at how unique 432 Park Avenue looks amongst this moving cloud here. You almost can't even see the top third of the building because it's stuck within the clouds. Now this is the entrance to the Plaza Hotel. So you have the residences on Central Park South, and then you have the main entrance, which looks really nice, even with the scaffolding on this side.
Straight scrambling, straight gambling.
Williams is, according to Wall Street Journal, lots of vacancy in the Hudson Yards. For residences, or I mean for a residential, or are you talking commercial? Austin City Limits, what's up? SME Media, yeah, you're right. It says plus co-ops are work. Board members, yes, so that is correct. That is correct. Let's move out of this area for a minute. Yeah, so a big issue, I should say one of the issues that a lot of people don't like with co-ops is the board situation, right? So even though you may have enough money, right, in theory to purchase these co-ops, you have to be approved and essentially accepted into the building by the board. And it's a lot of internal politics, if you will. And that's really why, it's a good point, because co-ops and co-op boards are one of the many, many reasons, or I should say one of the main reasons why condos became so popular in New York City amongst foreign buyers. Because back in the day, a lot of foreign buyers were rejected solely based on the fact that they weren't Americans, right? So they were rejected because they weren't from the United States. So I think there's a little bit of prejudice there. Right now, New York City has very, very strict fair housing laws, but I've always said one of the ways that, not really to get around it or skate around it, but these co-op boards, they don't have to give you a reason to reject you. I don't think a lot of people understand that. This is the Sherry Netherland, by the way, that we're standing across from. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous hotel. Very old building, by the way. But many people don't know that, but co-op boards do not need to give you a reason as to why they rejected you. So in some instances, let's say if you have, you know, a big investment banker that lives in one of these co-ops, and another investment banker from a competing bank wants to purchase a unit in the building, well, just based upon the fact that they're competitors, they'll just say, oh no, I don't want that guy in there, and deny them. So it's really, like, in some instances, very catty in a way. Condominiums, not the same, not so much, right? Anybody could buy, very relaxed environment. And that's another thing. You know, during the pandemic, I was reading this interesting statistic as we walk down Fifth Avenue here. This is Fifth Avenue and West 58th Street. I think more people became pet owners in 2020 and 2021 than ever before. And in many co-ops, they do not allow pets. I think that's another reason why you're seeing the prices drop in some of these co-op apartments, because if the vast majority of the buyer pool owns pets and your building doesn't allow pets, well then guess what? They can't buy there. So, hey, Haas Manning, what's up? This is Evening Tom and everybody. You know, it's funny. Haas Manning and I ate at the same restaurant last night, just like 2 hours apart. Wild, wild. And it was the Momofuku Noodle Bar, which is a really good place, by the way. This is the Bergdorf Goodman. But if you guys are looking for a unique place to eat in the Deutsche Bank Towers, check out the Momofuku Noodle Bar. You get really good noodles, really good ramen. For those of you who drink, there's a really unique bar there as well. They make cool cocktails and stuff. And we were there like an hour apart. Small world. Yeah, Mikey G says co-ops and HOAs can sometimes be money grabs. Hey, Dan Zhang, what's up? Says, I just want the price of bubble tea to drop. It's getting very unaffordable. Dan, did I tell you that there's a Gongcha now in Penn Station? Not in the, how could I explain it? In the Amtrak side. I think it used to be a sushi place, but now there's a bubble tea place in Penn Station. It is always packed whenever I walk past it. Michael Joseph says Bergdorf has the best holiday windows. I think the, what is it called? We always walk past it. I always call it out to you guys. Cartier, I think, has the best holiday windows. Now, usually during the holidays, they hang a huge snowflake right here on this corner, 5th Avenue and West 57th Street. You're looking at the Tiffany building that is now owned by LVMH. And this is also owned by LVMH, the Louis Vuitton building right here. But I think for the sake of time, we're actually gonna head further into the city. But I'll quickly call this out for you guys. You see where all the luxury cars are across the street? I think this may be a Bentley. You guys have been teaching me a little bit about the car world, especially Dan. But this is the Aman Hotel. A-M-A-N. I think this is the most expensive hotel in Manhattan. Right here. I think it's almost finished with construction. Room rates are, I believe, $1,500 a night. They may start right there. Yeah, Haas Manning says inside the Peninsula Hotel is awesome. That's fantastic during the holidays too. I think we've been inside there on the stream. Or maybe it was at the St. Regis. I forget. Ooh, Ryan Beck says you were standing right next to the Rolls Royce earlier at the Plaza Hotel Residences. I got a funny story about that Rolls Royce. So one night I was walking, because I used to live like 2 blocks over from the Plaza. That Rolls Royce is always parked outside there. And it is a one-of-one Rolls Royce. And the doorman told me it's over $1 million car. Because I forget what he was telling me. They imported it from the UAE. And if you look inside, which you're kind of not supposed to, but it has all of this. He was telling me about it. Again, I'm not a big car guy, but it's all this original leather imported from the United Arab Emirates. And yeah, supposedly it's a one-of-one. It has like this really interesting like cheetah head imprint on it. It's really cool. And the guy, I think, owns the unit in the Plaza that is right next door to Tommy Hilfiger. So Tommy Hilfiger owns the one, or I think it may be on the market. I think he may be selling it in the spire of the Plaza. So kind of cool. This vacant lot here is probably going to be some ridiculous super tall skyscraper. This building here is the Park Lane Hotel, which was totally renovated after the pandemic. And that super tall building there is the Steinway Tower. Hey, Mikey G says you mentioned the writer's strike last night. SAG joined them for the first time in 60 years. You know, I actually was watching the news today, and there was a lot of people being interviewed about it. Now, I think it's expanded to a lot of the actors. So it's not just the writers. I think it's a lot of actors in Hollywood too that are on strike. And, you know, I was sort of reading into both sides, but they were interviewing, I think this was on Fox and Friends. Let's cross the street. There's gonna be better views for you guys. Now, they were saying that the union, or I should say, the employers don't want to come to the table for a fair deal. And I think there were some internal recordings that they allegedly just want to starve them all out, right? I guess these people aren't getting their health insurance. They're obviously not getting paychecks. And the other side is prepared to essentially starve them out as long as it takes for the union to cave. So I don't know what's going to go on there. Hey, Dr. House. This is Bentleys or money pits. Let me read that comment. Bentleys or money pits, anything made by Volkswagen. Get ready to make the dealership repair shop your second home. Now, is it true that a brake job on like a BMW can cost up to $1,500 just for a brake job? I was talking to a mechanic one day, and he said a lot of the foreign vehicles, German cars, they're nice, but any little fix, a brake job, tire change, you know, you're looking at like $1,500 to $2,000 just for the job itself. I would imagine now it's probably even more with all the parts and the supply chain disruptions. Wow, Steinway Tower, you can't even see the top. It's literally inside the clouds. That's insane. Ethan R says BMW is by far the most expensive brand. In terms of maintenance, copy that. Yeah, I mean, for me, if I ever get a car, I think I'll probably get a Tesla. But then again, I don't know, I would probably need to do more diligence on it, right? I just don't like worrying about things. Like, that is the one thing that I try to focus on the most, is I don't want to have to worry about something. If I acquire a particular asset or anything, I just don't want to have to worry about it all the time. So those cars like BMWs, Audis, Bentleys, Rolls Royce, unless you're, you know, I mean, worth millions, and you could just stroke a check and just have other people deal with the problems, it's just too much of a headache for me to get wrapped up in. So I don't have a car. I have like a scooter that I only keep in Miami. It's like $1,500. If the thing breaks, you buy a new one. Whoa, Russ says our Mercedes just cost us $1,000 for a rear brake job. Crazy. And how often, okay, so how many miles, right? Again, this is coming from a non-car guy. What is the average time in terms of miles that you should change your brakes? Anybody know? And then you could just calculate the math really quick. Ryan Beck says BMW usually includes normal maintenance. Mercedes makes you pay. And I'm assuming that's if you buy it new, right? Many people buy used vehicles too. RCM says 50 or 60,000 miles. It's actually not too bad. Now, not to get too deep in the finance stuff, but I used to know this analyst who used to send me a lot of his equity research. And this was, I don't know, maybe 2013, 2014. And this guy literally predicted the trend that we're seeing now in the United States. And the trend is this. The trend is that more people are choosing to hold on to their vehicles for longer periods of time. So what does that mean? Well, it is very, very expensive. This is the Warwick. I'll just quickly show you guys. This is another really nice hotel. This was actually shut down all throughout the pandemic, unfortunately. But it is now open. But that, you know, if people are keeping their vehicles for longer and longer and longer, well, that means they pay more and more money on repairs, and they have to be repaired more often. If you're pushing a car to 150 to 200,000 miles, chances are you're going to be needing to buy parts for it. You're going to need to have more and more oil changes and the like. So one of the best trades over the last 5-10 years was a lot of the auto body shops like O'Reilly and things like that. Hey, CA2 SD, thank you so much for your very kind $20 donations. Says, hey Tom, thanks for always showing us and keeping us entertained with such good information and stories. You have both book smarts and common sense with great etiquette. It's obvious you were well raised. Well, thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. And thank you for supporting this stream and your very kind donation. Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of fun doing it. It's something now I look forward to. I feel as if it's baked into my routine. Does anybody else feel that? Ooh, look at this Tesla. I can't tell what kind of paint job it is. Looks like a red paint job, which I like more of the charcoal. Sales, if you hate cold calling, if you hate going on appointments, if you hate sending out emails, just force yourself to do it for 36 days and it's gonna become like second nature. And it's very strange. It's sort of happened to me with these live streams. You know, we've been doing this for over a year now. But it's almost as if my internal clock knows when we're supposed to stream. Because right around at 8:30, like I feel super awake and I feel super energetic. So yeah, it's almost like baked into my routine now. It's almost like I can't stop if I wanted to. I'll go through like a withdrawal. TK Porsche, Tom is beginning to get the car bug. Well, I'll tell you this, TK Porsche. Well, okay, I'll let you. So here's the plan, right? I really want to set up my life to where I spend the majority of my time, maybe about 60% of the year, in Miami. That's sort of what I want to be able to work my way up to do. If that's the case, I'm probably gonna need to get a car. Now, the scooter, the Vespa is fine, but you know, over the long term, I think to be sustainable, you gotta get a vehicle. And I think it'll be a Tesla, 100%. I've just always been very interested in those cars. Now, the one across the street, which is actually a pretty good segue, I don't think that's the one that's my favorite. I think it's the Tesla Model X. It's the one with the doors that are the gull wing doors. So the two back doors, the two rear doors open like a bird almost. I think that is the coolest car ever. And plus, I don't need to pay for gas. I just charge it in my house. So yeah, if it ever comes time where I need to get a vehicle, it's definitely going to be an EV. That's number one. And number two, it's most likely going to be a Tesla, I think. Oh, Nako says that's the X. Copy that. Tesla Model X. Anybody here a Tesla owner in the chat, by the way? Maybe you could provide me some feedback. Ken Brockton says, ever consider adding a Tesla as Turo renters to your Airbnb? You know, it's actually a really good question. It may be too much of a liability, maybe a little bit too much of a risk. Because if, I don't know, I just don't think the risk reward profile would work out for me to have, you know, a stranger renting my vehicle. What if they crash it and they get injured? I would just have to probably draw up a really solid document for that. It may be too much overkill, but I thought about doing that for the Vespas. I thought about having the tenant sign a waiver, and I only do month-long rentals, by the way. So that's another thing that I've found, which you guys sort of helped me through that process. It's actually easier, for whatever reason, it's easier and less time consuming to do longer term rentals than it is short term rentals. And when I'm talking about short term rentals, I mean like a weekend, maybe a week, 1 to 2 weeks. To me, it's very time consuming. So I only rent it out for a month or more, maybe a month or 2 months. This is the Brooks Brothers, and Brooks Brothers actually went bankrupt during the pandemic. It's good to see them still ticking, back on track. This is a really nice shot of Radio City Music Hall. These beautiful American flags here. Jonathan Francis, all workers at the Gigafactory get deep discounts on Tesla cars, as they should. They definitely should. Hopefully Elon Musk is hooking those people up for sure. Murray says, where will the EV batteries go after they are burned out? I'm not too sure. I actually don't know. And in terms of an environmental stance, it's a big problem, you know, finding the rare earths that go into these EV batteries. That's actually a big issue. Now, I believe, and don't quote me on this, because I think I was on the Tesla earnings call, which is open to the public, by the way. So if you ever want to join the conference call, it's open to everybody. You just go to Tesla's investor relations page and they'll send you the link. That's one of the great things about the United States, is we have free and fair markets with rules where these corporations have to allow you to listen in and provide transcripts and all documentation of their financial reporting, which is great. But I think the majority of the lithium that goes into making Tesla batteries, I think they come from Australia. So it is ethically sourced. which is good. Can't say the same thing about a lot of the other companies, but Quids is the Congo. So what's interesting about the Democratic Republic of the Congo is that a lot of the cobalt, I think the vast majority of the world's cobalt comes from the Democratic Republic of the Congo. I love these buildings here because they look very similar. Don't you guys notice that? Right here on Avenue of the Americas, these 5 buildings here look almost identical, exactly alike. It looks amazing. This is where the Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon happens. Although I think with the writer's strike, I think that's on hold, I think. But anyway, you're right. And there's a really good book. I keep forgetting the name. It just came out a few months ago. But it talked about exactly that. I think cobalt, nickel, lithium are the main ingredients, if you will, that go into making these EV batteries. Now, in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, they quite literally, right, and this isn't an exaggeration, they quite literally use that the particular, I should say, natural resources, petroleum and diesel forever. It's almost worse, in my view. I never knew that this was actually called something. And I used to work literally right here. I used to work in that building right over here, 1166 Avenue of the Americas. You learn something new every day. So this is Skyscraper Alley. I'll give you a quick panoramic shot of it. Sort of looks like Gotham City, doesn't it? You could see the Barclays Investment Bank in the back. Now, if you look across the street, anybody here a fan of halal food? This is the best by far, not even a competition. The best halal food in the city. It's on the corner of West 49th Street and Avenue of the Americas, or 6th Avenue, and it is called Adele's Famous. And the line literally stretches all the way around the block past 1221 Avenue of the Americas, which is in the basement of that building is a really, really nice steakhouse. But the line goes all the way down the block, which is crazy. Murray's is halal guys. Not a big fan of halal guys, actually. I think there's much better halal options like Adele's. That pedicab almost got hit by this car. Hawaii, is that right? You're like, it's so good. When I was there, you were steps away from where I was streaming. Well, how long was the line when you were there? Hopefully you didn't wait too long. All right, I think once we reach 41st Street, we're gonna make a right and we're gonna head over towards Hell's Kitchen. I think now that the rain stopped, there's gonna be a lot of events and activities going on in Hell's Kitchen. As we pass the Diamond District. Oh, cool, you were there Christmas. You were 8th in line. That's not bad. It's a good spot. It's probably about a 10 to 20 minute wait. 6,000 says good evening from Toronto, everybody. New York City looking great. I'll be in Toronto this summer. Towards the tail end of the summer, I'll be in Toronto. This is the Diamond District in New York. 47th Street, Rockefeller Center. West 46th Street.
You saw that dude standing up on
Let's cross the street away from the noise here. It's another very humid night in New York. Hey, Mike Skate TV, what's up, man? Long time no see. This is Tom, got my aunt visiting for the week. How are you? I'm doing really good. Hopefully you have a good time with your aunt. Hopefully you can enjoy the weekend and it's not a washout. Very humid here in New York. Battery grams is 114 degrees near me, cooling off. Yeah, some of my buddies are in Scottsdale, Arizona. They're playing golf. They sent me a video of the golf course. It was 111 degrees today in Scottsdale. But it's not the 111 degrees that is sort of like on the East Coast. That's super dry, really, really dry heat. This is extremely humid. It's been ridiculously humid in New York. Yeah, Marcy M. I think this is the comment of the night by Marcy M. She says, I never understand why the pedicab music has to be so incredibly loud. Yeah, you know, I think the same thing, right? If you're trying to attract customers, you know, why blast the music? I don't know. I think I'm extremely less likely. Well, I would never ride one of these things in a million years, but it's not even a possibility if you're blaring the music. Maybe it's just my personality, but if you're hammering on the music and I can't hear myself think, there's no way I'm jumping in that thing with you. Zero chance. Let's take a quick poll in the chat. Are you more likely or less likely to get into one of those pedicabs or even just go into a store if the music is blasting loud? Or are you more likely to go in when it's more inviting, quieter? This is a really interesting shot here. Look at that. The cloud is giving off this green hue from the lights at the top of the building. Yeah, everybody's like less likely. Vivian says you like it loud? All right. Hawaii's like, depends on what's inside, I know. All right, let's continue down. Wow, it says it's 76 degrees out tonight. It feels like 90. Maybe that's just because it's so humid. To your right is Bank of America Tower. West 43rd Street, 6th Avenue. And this is the Steinway & Sons pianos. These pianos could be upwards of $100,000 for one. There was that story way back, well, I think they still do it today, that a very wealthy tenant actually had to close down the street to hire a crane to lift the piano into their apartment. Now what you're looking at now is One Vanderbilt, but you could barely see it because of the clouds. You could just barely see it. We may duck into Grand Central before we head over to Hell's Kitchen. We're about to see an amazing view of the Empire, hopefully if the clouds aren't covering it. Wow, Marcus says, I own a Steinway, I inherited it. Very cool. That's an awesome sort of like family heirloom to have, to pass down throughout generations. That's awesome. Now you're going to see the Empire State Building peek its head out here in a moment. But you'll probably be able to see it a little bit better if we cross the street. Ooh, look at that. That's cool. You could just barely see it. I'm not sure how that's coming out on the live stream, but that's the Empire State Building, the very top of it. Looks like the clouds are moving its way through. Hey, Bill Foley's is watching from Scranton, Pennsylvania. What's up, Bill? Good to see you. Mike Case, Steinway pianos have the best sound. Agreed. This is Brian Moynihan's tower, Bank of America. Right next to Mark Benioff's at Salesforce. I think the design on Bank of America Tower is so unique. Hey, we got Everything in Miami is here. Everything in Miami. Are you back in Miami or are you still in New York? You know, I was telling these guys, last week I went to a showing at 50 Central Park South. 50 Central Park South is the Ritz-Carlton Residences, right next to the Ritz-Carlton Hotel. Noble Black, I'm sure you know of him, he has the listing. Man, unbelievable property, so cool. The owner right now is a very, very successful businessman. He's never at the property. He uses it as a pied-à-terre, but the place is massive. You know, only one day I could hope to have a massive place at the Ritz-Carlton Residences to use it as a pied-à-terre. He's there maybe 2 weeks out of the year, maybe. I think this gives the best picture of just how humid it is out. This is 1114 Avenue of the Americas. And look at how fogged up the windows are from the ACs going on in the inside and how humid it is on the outside. It is crazy humid out. I know, everything in Miami is like, that's called FU money. For sure it is, man. Hey, Mariana, Texas says, hello everybody from Houston, Texas. Wish you could send the rain here. We are melting. I wish we could too. It just stopped maybe about 40 minutes ago, the rain here. Yeah, but everything in Miami, you know, all of those older buildings that are lined up on Central Park South, it's sort of like you're transported back into an old movie. Everything, I mean, the crown moldings are just, it's unreal. It's sort of like being in the Morgan Library. If I could explain it, it's almost like living inside the Morgan Library. It's amazing. The libraries are custom on the inside. And all the furniture is laid out in such a specific way so you could see the sunrise and the sunsets and the best locations from each room. It's insane. The attention to detail as you get higher up into some of these luxury listings is wild. Like, they coordinate the sunsets and the sunrise with the, you know, the color patterns and the palettes of the furniture and the walls and the artwork, just so everything matches 24/7, 365. It's really insane. It's amazing. Yeah, it's mid-century heaven, that's for sure. Now here's our friend Steven Schwartzman. This is actually a pretty good example of what I'm talking about. If you guys could see inside the New York Public Library, if you look right where my umbrella is right here, You could see all those beautiful crown moldings on the ceiling, like amazing craftsmanship. That's pretty much how it is in a lot of these listings on Central Park South, especially the older ones. And oftentimes it's staged with such rare pieces of artwork that these businessmen and businesswomen have collected throughout their careers. It's the way I could explain the tour that I had of the broker tour. It was like they were walking you through a mini museum in a way. It was really enjoyable. Hopefully someday in the near future, I'll be able to live stream those for you. Because I think you guys would enjoy that too. I know I enjoyed it. Okay, we made it. This is 42nd Street and 5th Avenue. You can see the beautiful Chrysler building in the distance. And you can see, well, actually you can't. You can't really see One Vanderbilt, but maybe as we start to walk a little bit closer to Grand Central Station, the clouds will part. This is looking northbound on 5th Avenue. But if you guys are enjoying the live stream so far tonight, feel free to leave a like on the video and click the subscribe button if you're new. We start these live streams at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Monday through Friday, we walk the city talking about the financial markets. Saturdays is sort of our day off to just relax, walk around, hang out. Hey, Eddie Age says, hello, how much would you say is the overall percentage of empty office buildings in New York City? Well, it's actually a really big problem, and it's something we talk about a lot on the stream, and it's a very good question. Because when you think about commercial real estate in New York, it's becoming a very, very bifurcated market. So what do I mean by that? Well, I think this is actually a really good example. You see this building right in front of us? This brand new office tower? It's called One Vanderbilt. And as we head further down to Park Avenue, you're gonna see another Class A office tower. It's called 270 Park. Okay. Now there's a lot of vacant. We'll wait till the ambulance goes by. Now there is a lot of vacant office space in Manhattan, particularly as it relates to Class B and Class C office towers. These tend to be older office buildings built in the 1980s and 1990s with very low ceiling heights. Just think about your standard, cubicle, right? I'm sure many of you worked in some of these office towers before where it's very dim, musty, like a 1980s style office building. With COVID, what happened is you had this huge shift to remote work, but a lot of people are starting to come back to the office. But they're not going to come back to the office in an old, crusty 1980s style office. A lot of these companies, this is a really good shot of the Chrysler building, wow. A lot of these Fortune 500 companies, startup companies and the like, have decided not to renew their leases at a lot of these older office buildings, and they're starting new leases in these brand new buildings here. I think the best example is the Hudson Yards. That does one of two things. It helps attract talent, and it also helps bring the employees back to the office, right? Another good example, 60 Wall Street. You can look up the building, 60 Wall Street. That was one of the most famous buildings on Wall Street, home to the German bulge bracket investment bank, Deutsche Bank. Well, now it is completely empty because Deutsche Bank decided to move uptown to the old Time Warner Center, which is a beautiful building. It has the Momofuku Noodle Bar in there. It has the Mandarin Oriental Hotel, which is a 5-star luxurious hotel with Asian influence. It has a Michelin star restaurant called Per Se, a French restaurant. So if you want to talk vacancy rates, the area of Manhattan that has the highest office vacancy is Lower Manhattan, in and around Wall Street, near Water Street and the like. So that's going to be a big problem, because if you look at the city's budget, okay, take a look at the city's budget, and where does a huge portion of the revenue that goes to fund the budget, where does it come from? Well, it comes from property taxes from a lot of these big office buildings. And if these office buildings are vacant, well, what is that going to mean for the valuations of these properties? Well, it means they're going to go down. And that means there's not going to be as much tax revenue. So it is an issue. In addition to that, this is an awesome shot of Grand Central Station. Wow. Beautiful shot, and you have the Chrysler Building in the same one. Ah, relics, as they used to deliver to Deutsche Bank. Yeah, down on Wall Street used to be rocking back in the day. Now it's a little bit dead. It's the MetLife Building too. The last thing I'll say about commercial real estate is this. Particularly in Manhattan, but not exclusive, right? You're seeing this in San Francisco, you're seeing this in a lot of other major cities, is that a lot of the debt or the commercial paper needs to be refinanced within 18 to 20 months. Now, that may not seem like a problem, but I could assure you that it is. Not only are vacancy rates at all-time record highs for some of these office towers, which means the rent rolls are extremely low, if not at all-time record lows, but it also means something else. Think about where interest rates are today as opposed to where they were in 2021. They're about, if you're talking about the Fed funds rate, it's about 525 basis points higher, right? From 0 to about 5.25 of a percentage point. This is an awesome shot here of Pershing Square. I want to see if I could take you guys inside, well, not inside the restaurant, but I want to show you what it looks like inside there. So yeah, I mean, all of that commercial paper is going to need to be refinanced, and the debt is going to be a lot more expensive than it was before, while rent rolls are going down. So I think that's going to create some opportunity, right? Whenever there's mispricing in the marketplace and volatility, it creates opportunity, and people get ridiculously rich when that happens. So maybe you could sort of look on the bright side of life there. Maybe these buildings will sell for land value. When demolition costs come down, they'll demo the buildings and build housing. And that's what we need in New York. We need more housing. If you haven't noticed, rents in New York City are at all-time record highs. So, who knows? This is Pershing Square, really nice. I've eaten in here once. It's all right. Has anybody besides Everything in Miami, I saw your chat, anybody else eaten in here? It's a really cool environment. I should say the aesthetic of the inside's really nice. Very charming place. You'll see it in a minute. I'll try to get up to the patio to show you guys the inside, but hey, Lisa says, hasn't the pandemic changed the overhead theory and home offices? Overhead theory. I'm not sure what that means, to be totally transparent with you. But I would assume a lot of people are still working from home. Now, if you're in finance, work in investment banking, pretty much all those employees are back now. So guys, what do you think of this? They're closing up shop. But here's the inside. Someone says drinks good, food not so much. From what I remember, the food was very expensive and it just was like regular food. Lisa says empty office buildings converted to apartments. Now, that's easier said than done, but that's a great sort of idea generation there. Now, there's been many, many condo conversions in New York already. I'll name two notable ones. Number one, 95 Wall Street, you could check it out. Number two, 1 Wall Street, which is actually halfway owned by a Saudi family office, which we're actually meeting with. Well, we actually met with them. Anyway, it's very expensive to do the condo conversions, and it's almost to the point where it doesn't work. Because in some of these older ones, right, you think about the buildings that were built in the 1980s, what was one of the main, I don't want to say ingredients, I just don't know what else to call it. What was one of the main materials used in building a lot of these buildings back in the day? Unfortunately, it was asbestos, and it is extremely expensive to essentially rip and replace a lot of that asbestos out of there. The best thing to do with asbestos is just to leave it alone, right? Because as long as it's not airborne, it's fine. So it's expensive. A lot of developers don't want to take on the task to do it. They would just rather not go through the hassle to do it. And the floor plans are sometimes very awkward. You can't really raise the ceiling heights, and you got to make sure the particular building that you're going to build, it sells. And people don't like low ceiling heights, if you haven't noticed. So it's a good thought. It is happening in many instances, but generally speaking, it's too expensive to do, particularly in a city like New York. And you also have to find a lending institution to back you to do it, assuming you're not going to bankroll the whole thing. All right, guys, let's go inside Grand Central, just so we can sort of get out of the humidity, if you will. Ooh, that feels nice. Feels really nice. Well, welcome to the inside of Grand Central Station. That feels unbelievable, guys. Look at the chandeliers in here. Carl Roth says most office towers have 1 washroom. Floors per floor. Not good for conversion. Thank you for that. What do you guys think of the crown moldings in the ceiling? Now you see this big open space here, this very big empty space? A lot of the times there's international squash tournaments that are right here. I think they're actually televised on ESPN. Anybody here a squash player? I know, Ryan Beck's like, you just don't see it like that anymore. It's true. Now that's what I really like about those apartments on Central Park South. It kind of looks like this. Let's read this plaque. I've never read it before. Oh, this is when it's been designated a National Historic Landmark. Thank God. It's a good thing we saved Grand Central Station because we weren't so lucky with Penn Station. There was a time, believe it or not, when Penn Station was actually gorgeous like this. Then they tore it all down, put it underground in a very dungy and dingy, disgusting environment. See if we can see the mighty bull. Now, if you walk down this corridor here, has anybody ever heard of the Whisper Wall? We're standing on top of it, by the way. So right here, is the Whisper Wall. We're literally standing on top of it. Maybe I'll take you guys down there. Might as well. It's Saturday. Hey, Jade 112. Good to see you, Jade. Now this is an interesting place. Now, if you walk up these stairs and you make a left, you're gonna get to the Campbell apartment, which is a really, really cool bar. I always recommend, if you haven't been here, doing a Google search of it and looking at some of the photos. It's breathtaking inside. It's very expensive, but if you're a tourist or you're looking to impress a client or something like that, this is a really, really good place to go. It's called the Campbell Bar inside the Campbell apartment. And then on the other side, you have the Apple Store. I know, I noticed that too. It's a very busy terminal today. Well, usually Grand Central Station is busy on the weekends. You wouldn't really think so, but it usually is. Because of two things. Number one, you have a lot of tourists that want to visit the landmark. But number two, you have a lot of New Yorkers, right, that live in Manhattan, that take trips to upstate New York. Because the main trains that come out of Grand Central go to upstate New York. You just take the Metro North. You can go to the Hudson Valley. You can go to Ossining. And it's really nice there in the summer. Not so much in the winter, but you can go up to Rye, New York, which is really nice. I actually attended a birthday party 2 weeks ago at the Rye Yacht Club. It was the first time I've ever been to Rye, New York, and I was extremely impressed. The place is absolutely gorgeous. I would actually probably live there one day, because you have this suburbia that's unlike Long Island, New York. I'm sure we have some Long Islanders in the chat. I happen to be from Massapequa, New York, which just so happens they caught that crazy, psychopathic, sadistic serial killer that literally lived a few blocks over from where I live on Michigan Avenue. Talk about a crazy creep. Did anybody see that? I think it was national news. Anybody see that? So in 2010, there was this guy, allegedly, right, there was this guy who would pick up people, right, in Manhattan. You could use your imagination. It's a kid's show, so I won't say the word. And take these women back out to Long Island and dump their bodies all along, Jones Beach and all along that causeway there. And I think there was over 10 murders that went unsolved. And the guy, allegedly, who did it, was an architect that lived in Massapequa Park, my hometown, literally a few blocks over from my place. And they finally caught the guy, allegedly, right? Crazy, wild stuff. I was looking at some of the reports, not to be super negative. I don't really like talking about negative things, but I was looking at some of the reports of the findings on the guy, and what a crazy, some of his search history. They have all of his search history, what he was looking up on Google. They have his emails, and the stuff was just so, God. So, yeah, thank God they caught the guy. I'm pretty sure it's probably did it, right? But wild nonetheless. But anyway, yeah, so upstate New York, Westchester County, it's suburbia, right? But it's a less crowded Long Island. That's how I would describe it. Ooh, look at that little baby mouse. Did you guys see that? Let me know in the chat if you saw that. It was a teeny little mouse that just scurried across. I can only imagine the amount of rats down here when there's no people. Yeah, Eddie H is its Gilgo Beach authorities. Yeah, it's crazy. And you want to know another crazy, wild thing? The guy graduated from the same high school that my parents graduated from. And my parents went to high school with the Baldwins. So my parents went to Berner High School, which is no longer a high school, by the way. It's actually a middle school in Massapequa. But Billy Baldwin, Alec Baldwin, Stephen Baldwin all went to high school together with my parents. And this serial killer, apparently. So that's cool to find out. Hey, Joe Driver's here. What's up? Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Yeah, but I mean, at least they caught the guy. You never know, man. You never know in life.
No, Chris, can you see with that? Chris?
Hey, Otto's here. What's up? Yeah, we just passed the Whisper Wall. You know, I want to, since the train is in the station here on track 19, I want to show you guys what a Metro North train looks like. I've showed you the trains on the Long Island Railroad. I don't think I've ever shown you guys the Metro North. I've only taken it a handful of times, but it's nice. It's very, very nice. I would say it's a more cleanly Long Island Railroad, if you will. Hopefully the internet holds up. I know, Vivian's like, trust no one. Well, here we have it, folks. This is the Metro North. Now, this Metro North train is the exact same as the Long Island Railroad. But these are the original Metro North trains right here. So this will take you to upstate New York. And it actually looks like the train is pretty packed today. Oh, is that right? Someone says blue train is to Westchester, red train is to Connecticut. I never knew that.
Hello.
I feel like I've been on one of the red interiors before going to Ossining, or Ossining, however you pronounce it. But yeah, it's cool. See the conductor there looking at his watch, getting ready to pull out of the station. We have some stragglers. They'll just make it. Oops, got some more stragglers here. Looks like these kids will be right on time. Perfect timing. But yeah, there you go, there you have it. You know, oftentimes on the stream, we'll just walk around the main concourse. But I think it's cool to show people who aren't New Yorkers, who haven't taken it, what the train actually looks like. So there you have it. Pat Jace is blue as Harlem, and Hudson Line is red to Connecticut. Yeah, and the good thing now is the East Side Access Project is finally open after years and years of the MTA dangling it in front of Long Islanders' faces. You could actually take the Long Island Railroad directly here, which in theory saves a lot of time, right? Because if you think about and this is a huge generalization, so I'm just generalizing to make a point. But many people who commute from Long Island, right, from the suburbs, generally tend to work, you know, finance, maybe they're doctors who are working in the hospitals in the city. And a lot of that stuff happens to be on the east side, right? Park Avenue, a lot of the investment banks, family offices, hedge funds, sort of you name it. Before, you had to go all the way to 34th Street and then take the one train to Times Square, then take the shuttle to Grand Central. Took a long time. Now you can just get off right here, but it's so far underground that I think it takes the exact same amount of time, because instead of, you know, jumping on the one train and jumping on the shuttle, you just have to walk up the escalator that's takes 10 minutes to do. All right, let's head out. Hopefully you all enjoyed Grand Central. Very lively tonight. Back into the humidity. Hey, Dusty Cole is here. What's up, Dusty? Now, when I used to live in Greenpoint, Brooklyn, I would take the 7 train right here to Grand Central, and I would get off at Vernon Jackson, which is Queens, but Vernon Jackson is actually the closest subway station to the Pulaski Bridge. And I don't think I've ever live streamed walking over the Pulaski Bridge. But there's amazing views of the city walking over the Pulaski Bridge. Hey, Water Blazing is here. Good to see you. You know, this is cool because we were just talking about commercial real estate, particularly Class A office space. This building right in front of us that is not yet built is 270 Park Avenue. So this is going to be Jamie Dimon's brand new office tower for JP Morgan Chase. It's going to be quite the building. Hey, Sunshine NYC, what's up? Sunshine, when are we going to get you down to Florida again? We got to have you visit Fort Lauderdale or Miami. I think you usually go there in the winter, I think you told me, but look at the lobby inside One Vanderbilt. Really nice. Now, if you make a right here, this is actually the main entrance to the Campbell Bar. So again, if you're visiting New York, or you're looking for a very unique and professional place to take clients out, this is the place for you, my friends. Trust me on this, okay? I'm not gonna lead you astray. I promise you, this is such a unique place to take a client. The Campbell Bar. Is it closed now? That's strange. Anyway, last year there was a big holiday party I attended here at the Campbell Bar. It was amazing. There was music, sort of like you transported back into the 1940s in New York. Everybody had to, it was a black tie event, right? So you had to dress up nice. But now I'm curious because I saw that gentleman try to open the door and it was locked. I really hope they didn't go out of business and close down. Could somebody Google that? Sorry to make you guys work on a Saturday, but could we Google Campbell Bar, Grand Central Station? Hopefully it's still in operation. Hopefully it's still open. Hey, Cosmo, what's up, man? Good to see you. Sharon Lee. Just get on there, Tom, and come visit Niagara Falls. Yeah, maybe I'll take a trip on the Amtrak. We'll see. Now we're headed uptown. On the right-hand side, you're gonna see the Yale Club. And our good friend Jeff Bezos actually frequents the Yale Club right here. Why says it's open? Strange, that guy, maybe he just pulled it and it's a push door, I don't know. But Yeah, Freddy's says it closes at 1 a.m. Okay, well that's good. I was getting nervous there for a minute. But just trust me on this. It is expensive, but it's for the experience. The atmosphere is unmatched. The service is super cool. And there's a lot of rich history behind it too. Here we have the gorgeous Yale Club. It seems like every building in Manhattan that's of notable interest has scaffolding on it. Did you guys notice that? Sherry Netherland, scaffolding. Yale Club, scaffolding. Plaza Hotel, scaffolding. 50 Central Park South, the Ritz-Carlton Residences and the Ritz-Carlton Hotel, scaffolding. Maybe we'll open up a Walks on Wall Street scaffolding company and we'll all make so much money that we could buy the triplex atop of 220 Central Park, or a Central Park Tower, for $250 million. These scaffolding companies must be raking it in. But yeah, the inside of the Yale Club is gorgeous. There's also another really exclusive club called the University Club, which is really nice. I just want to get you guys close to 220 or 270 Park Avenue, if you will. I get a lot of emails of people wanting to see the progress or the progression of the building, so we'll do that. Hey, ex-Souls, I'm new here. Where do you live? It's a little bit personal for being new, just busting your balls. I live in New York. Hunter Butler's here, what's up? We're just checking out 270 Park, Jamie Dimon. Yeah, I know, everything in Miami, you're 100% correct. That's been a real problem in New York with the scaffolding, right? Because if the building department issues some sort of a fine or requests that the owners make renovations to the building, one of the ways that they can get around making the reservations, or renovations I should say, is just by putting scaffolding up. And if they leave it up literally in perpetuity, they don't have to do the work to bring the building up to code, if you will. We'll wait for these cars to go by. All right. Just got really windy all of a sudden too. So it looks like they finally put glass on about half the structure. This thing is going to look amazing when it's done. And the architecture is really interesting too, because you see these sort of 4 trusses right here. It goes all the way around the building, and that holds the majority of the weight of the building. So it takes the weight of the building through these columns and shoots it down into the ground, into the main base, into the main slab, if you will. And that allows sort of like this free-flowing atrium that's going to be open to the public. Really cool. What do you guys think? Do you like 270 Park so far? I think it's going to totally transform the city. I know TK Porsche's blowout earnings could really, they could definitely afford the construction, that's for sure. Yeah, Jamie Dimon's definitely not begging for pennies, let's say. Let's say that. I kind of like how it's like this, you see? So the building starts here, but it doesn't go straight down to the ground like all the other ones, right? Every single building on the block are these original, this block buildings, right? But this has a tapered feel to it, and it actually makes Park Avenue feel a little bit bigger, which is really nice. Melissa 2087 says I'll be in New York City all day tomorrow. Unfortunately, it's going to be pouring. I did see that too. It's going to be pouring, raining all day. It was just pouring earlier. That's why I have my umbrella. But you never know. New York weather is very bipolar. It's crazy. So you never know. Maybe we will not have any rain at all. Hey, Western Mass Dave, good to see you. All right, one more shot of 270 Park and let's head downtown. I'm supposed to get you guys the Hudson Yards, or not the Hudson Yards, Hell's Kitchen tonight. And this guy right here is the very top of 425 Park Avenue, which is the temporary home to Citadel Securities. All right, let's head out. Yeah, Dave, glad you could join tonight, man. Hopefully you're having a good weekend. We're about to walk under the Hemsley building, which is 230 Park. Hey Nix, this funny story. 2 weeks ago, I was in New York City for work. I was walking around Midtown like a local, pointing out the various sites and shortcuts. My coworkers were convinced I lived there. Nice, man. Love that. Hopefully you'll be on more work assignments in New York. It's a fun place to work, man. Really fun place to work, fun place to live. Yeah, everything in Miami, that's true as well. Citadel's future home is in Miami. That's the main headquarters, is going to be in Miami. It's crazy. So I told you guys I went to that party at the Rye, New York Yacht Club. Well, it turns out I met the director of leasing at WeWork. Just so happened to be there because I was telling him about, Miami, where I'm from and all that. How, I'm into finance. We were just talking back and forth. Nice guy. Really nice guy. And he's like, yeah, I'm the director of leasing for WeWork. He's like, did you know, Ken Griffin leased out the whole entire 20th floor of the Southeast Financial Center. I was like, dude, I know, I used to work there and he pushed me out. So if you guys remember, this is back in the day now on the channel, we used to start off the live streams at the 200 Southeast Financial Center. When we would stream in Miami, that is. And it was a nice place. But Citadel, as they await their huge office building being built in Brickell, their headquarters temporarily is the entire 20th floor of the 200 Southeast Financial Center, which is technically the WeWork, right? So he was telling me about that deal, and I was like, whoa, what a coincidence. I remember way back in the day, I was in the office, 1166 Avenue of the Americas, and in walks Adam Newman and Masayoshi Son. Because the company that I worked for, SoftBank, which is a big Japanese investment firm, had a huge investment, had a huge stake in our company. And they also had a huge stake in WeWork. That didn't work out, right? Adam Newman, I'm sure all of you guys know the story of Adam Newman, but I don't want to say anything negative. What's done is done. But yeah, I remember Adam Newman walks in to the office with his posse, if you will, and they're all in skinny jeans that are all ripped up and beanies. It was just really, it's just really funny. But that's their whole aura, right? That's their thing. It's a very hipstery, if you've ever met Adam Newman, he's very bro-y. Great sales guy, super persuasive. I mean, if you ever want a sales guy, like that is your guy. Super persuasive, high energy, presents himself well, but definitely a big spender. All right, let's go to 42nd Street and then let's make a right. And we'll start to head deeper into Midtown, because that's where we got to go anyway. But if you guys are enjoying the stream so far tonight, feel free to leave a like on the video. And feel free to subscribe to this channel if you're new. We start these live streams at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Also, if you want to connect with us off stream, you can follow us on Twitter at Walks Wall Street. Oftentimes I post some of my equity research there, some real estate insights, and you could also sign up for our free Substack with the link in the description. All right, let's make this right here. I know, sunshine after rain, I miss it too. Maybe it'll make a return, but I just don't trust any of these drivers. TD Bank, Canadian Bank on our right. All those, the retail segment. Non-institutional clients. Hey, Lorene Peters. Happy Saturday night to you, my friend. We're here on Madison Avenue. A lot of people headed towards Grand Central. Da, 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 da. Ollie Star, what's up? Maybe we'll cross here. It's a little bit easier to navigate. That guy's car was a little loud. I feel like that's more of the stuff we see in Miami, right? Everybody banging on the loud mufflers. Chrysler building again. But I want to take you guys to Library Way, which is right here next to 300 Madison, which is the PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers. Hey, Austin City Limits. Thanks so much for the time check. Brad's Brain. Any updates on H-Town? Hopefully you're settling in well. That's another update. I may be in Austin again this year, which I'm actually looking forward to. Austin's fun to visit every once in a while. Terry Black's. That was the first time I've ever had real Texas barbecue in my life. It was this time last year. Went to Terry Black's in Austin, Texas. Extremely impressed. It's not only really good Texas barbecue, it's a really fun time as well. I had an entire tour, me and my buddies, we got a tour of the smoke pits. It's where they smoke and cook all of the food. Austin's a fun city. I don't know if I could live there, but It is a fun city for sure. Brad's Brains, like H-Town is hot and I love it. Love that. I think last week was the hottest week on record across the world. My friends are in Scottsdale. Supposedly it's 111 degrees in Scottsdale, Arizona. Isn't that wild? This is one of my favorite views of all time in the city. This is the Stephen Schwarzman building, the New York Public Library, right here on 5th Avenue. And in the distance, you have the Salesforce Tower, you have Bank of America Tower, and you have the H&M building. Oh, cool. Brad's Brains, since you haven't been since your sister graduated UT. Look, I liked it. I enjoyed it. I was there for a few days. Again, I don't know if I could live there, though. I'm an ocean guy. I got to be near the ocean. Got to be near the water. Now, there's like lakes and rivers and streams, but in my opinion, you can't compare it to the ocean. It's just you can't. All right, guys. I'm going to cut you all loose here, right outside of the Lions. But I want to wish you all well before we go. Have a safe and restful rest of your weekend, and we will see you right back here on Walks on Wall Street tomorrow, Sunday night at 8:30, as we do our weekly Markets Look Ahead stream, where we talk day by day the major events that are going to be happening coming up on Wall Street in the week ahead. So enjoy your Saturday night. If you're going out tonight, please be safe, drink responsibly, have a good time, take a rest and recharge so you can hit it hard on Monday. So Gonzalo, thank you so much. UnitJ23, Richard Vogel, Neville 6000, Abdullah, Ali Star, CA2SD, Disney Hatch, Lorene Peters, Solo Flyer. Thank you so much. And also thank you to the Red Dog. I missed your donation yesterday. It was a very, very kind donation. Unfortunately, the chat glitched. So thank you so much for your support. All of our moderators, Lee, appreciate it. Support your police, agreed. Lee, I sent you an email. There was a crazy crime scene near my house. TK Porsche, Lisa, always a bull market somewhere. You just need to know where to look. Take care, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Have a nice weekend.